Welcome to the Agency Uplift Podcast, the podcast all about the unique experience of growing a digital agency, the ups, the downs, the challenges, and the learnings. I'm your host, Sean Lang, agency owner of over 7 years and co-founder of Social Commerce Club. And today I'm joined by Warren Thompson, co-founder of Olo Metrics. They're a team of Google Ads, social media ads, SEO, and analytics specialists that will help you grow profitably while giving you complete clarity into your marketing success. Warren, thanks so much for being on.
Sean, thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So we were connecting before the call on our musical backgrounds, and I'm not sure if that will come into play, but it's really, really funny how a lot more marketers actually come from kind of a creative or even a musical background than you would expect, especially given what everyone talks about on LinkedIn. But when you actually pry back the layers, you find that, oh, so-and-so's a guitarist, a bassist, a keyboardist, a producer, something like that. So what was the transition for you like from pursuing music to marketing and then starting an agency?
It's funny because through my learning experience, starting an agency and taking courses, I found out that these guys that I was taking courses from, one of them was Isaac Rudensky.
Yep.
He was also a musician that transitioned to becoming a marketer. So I just thought it was like, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing this pattern in a lot of places. I think that marketing it's kind of like an art and a science, similar to music, the way I see it. So you've got structure to a song. You're using maybe some music theory to create and write songs, but there's still like this intangible piece that just comes from empathy and learning and and refining that craft over the years. And so I think there's really there's skills that can be applied from being a musician into a marketer. And I think, that's probably why we see this pattern. I didn't even know you were a musician. So it's just funny how we hopped on and we just both realized, okay, yeah, we're both musicians and we both got into marketing. So it's kind of cool. For me, like in my younger days, early days, I went to school for marketing, but I also, was a musician growing up. My dad was a musician and a music teacher. It was like really present in our family. But after I graduated, I really just wanted to be a musician. That was number one for me. So I spent a lot of my time, taking lessons, joining bands. We were rehearsing multiple times a week, trying to put down together records, tour, get record deals. That was the total focus for me. And when I was early in my marketing career, I was just working like part-time. And I'm like, hey, I got to do this marketing thing so that I can, keep using my university experience, but I really wanted to focus on music. And then eventually that started to shift, and I'll say the priorities started to kind of balance the other direction, which is where we are today. But not totally gone, not totally given up on, because I definitely still feel like it's an important part of my life.
Yeah, for sure. I can relate to a lot of that. It's a pretty big swing though, going from, saying I'm a musician and I'm going to do this full time and this is, what I'm going to do with my life, to not just getting into marketing, but also starting an agency. So
yeah,
those are, being a marketer and starting an agency are two very different things. So what made you make the decision to start an agency?
Yes, they are two very different things. I think any business in general, agencies are, I would say generally chaotic businesses, and you have to be able to operate within that chaos and kind of enjoy it along the way, because it will be bumpy, but it will also be exciting, and you'll work with great people. I was fortunate enough. My first job, I was working client side as a marketer, and I actually stayed in that job for almost 10 years, which is stayed with that company for almost 10 years. So a long time. I think it was an exciting enough path because the company was growing quickly. And my role looked very different, like every couple of years, because of how fast the company was growing, acquiring other companies, launching new brands, launching an e-commerce site. Marketing was changing so fast, so it was exciting all along the way. The company was called Kintec Footwear and Orthotics, and I think what was the first seed of I want to do this was we worked with a branding agency back in like 2009. That was a long time ago, and they were a local Vancouver agency. I was like a marketing coordinator at that time, but I was lucky enough because we were a small marketing team to join in on some of the discovery calls that we had with the agency. And so I got to go to the agency's office, and we did like these full day discovery sessions where we're really trying to figure out who Kintech was. It was called Kintech Foot Labs at the time. Not so sexy, the brand. It was way more medical focused. Like there's a much more of a focus on orthotics and less on like helping people live active, healthy lifestyles on their feet, to where Kintech is now, which is like one of the largest providers in the space across Canada. And so in those early days, seeing that agency come in and really have such a lasting impact and transform not only the look of Kintech, but also just everything from the operations to the culture to the people that we hired to and just see that lasting impact was like, I'm like, I want to do this one day. I want to be that guy that can come in and work across so many different brands and industries and just bring that expertise and really help people get unstuck. So that was the seed of interest for me to launch an agency one day.
That's really cool. And that's something that resonates really strongly with me. I mean, I work with agencies to sort of help them get unstuck in a very similar way, but
Yeah.
it feels very, very similar to um, running my agency and also seeing the brands come in and working with those brands and basically having the outside view and seeing the things that they don't see.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I can tell you what the problem is. Do you want me to tell you what the problem is? I can tell you. We could pull that out right now. Do you want to just do that? Like, and then actually
Yeah.
doing that, and then seeing like the, over the next like days, weeks, months, the relief that comes from like just like pulling that one splinter out, for example, and
Mhm, mhm.
getting them unstuck. It's such a fantastic feeling. It makes perfect sense as to why you got into the agency game. So you mentioned it's bumpy, it's chaotic, and of course, this is something that we talk about a lot on this show. Would you mind mentioning a struggle or two that you've kind of encountered at Olo Metrics and sort of how you overcame that struggle? I mean, that's probably a loaded question because there's literally probably a new one every single week, but
Yeah, there's a lot. I think so one was like when we started out, so COVID was a big bump, but also a big opportunity for us. And so when we in the early days, I was living in Squamish. I was like kind of new to Squamish, and it was like a big pivot in my life almost. Moved from Vancouver out to this little town that all my friends would ask, like, "Why the heck are you moving to Squamish?" Now no one asks that question because everyone's like, "Squamish
because
is
it's
the coolest."
incredible.
Yeah. But it was a big move, and then so I started building a team there. We got a little office space at the co-working space, and we started hiring, an in-person team. And then COVID happened. And so it was like, oh, now we're all online. How do I give my team the same support through this that I was able to offer them in person before. So at Kintech, we always had an office. I had a team of, I think it was like 8 to 10 people that we'd built over time. So I was able to meet with that team, interact with them. And so how are we going to shift and still provide that same support, that same culture to everyone, and make sure that their voice is heard when they have issues in a remote environment? And so that was like that was a big shift. So there's a few key pieces that we put in place. And but like we're still figuring it out. It's like 5 years, later. But like one of the things was I built with the help of the team, training courses for our key positions that we needed to hire for. So we have a marketing coordinator position, we have an account manager position. Those are like two really key pieces for our team. So we built like a 6-week training course for those people.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think I mentioned my dad was a music teacher, but both my parents were educators. So it's like, it's also a really big part of who I am and what I love doing. And so it was like, okay, great. Finally, I get to build a course. This is fun. And so we did that. And then also we incorporated some tools just to get like a pulse on the team and like making sure. So one of the tools called Office Vibe. I think a company named WorkLeap has acquired it now.
I
But
love Office Vibe.
okay, cool. Cool. You're familiar? Okay.
Yep.
And I hope some of the listeners will take this if they've never heard of it. It does like a weekly survey to the team and then gives us some feedback. It's like subjective feedback, I guess, on all of these different engagement metrics from the team. So like how's work-life balance going? How is recognition or the peer support, stress, those sorts of things. And then we can start to ask more custom questions to the team and solve for some of those problems. Like, so we found that stress was quite high. It's an agency, right? So stress, work-life balance, like those were challenges for us. And so we started to put together like a wellness program to help our team and like help coach them as well. So it's not just like, oh, we're going to give you all of these wellness days off and we're 4-day work week and everything else. It's like, no, we're going to empower you to help to learn how to deal with that, but then also show that we're meeting holding up our end of the bargain as leaders. And so, since then, like you can actually see the growth in those metrics, and the team feels like they're heard. They can also provide anonymous feedback, which I answer every single one of them. And so it was huge for us, I think. So
I'm so
yeah,
glad you brought up Office Vibe. That is something that we used early on before it was acquired by Workleap, but I found that it hasn't really changed much. They're just trying to sell you additional
yeah,
modules
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Same.
but one thing that using Office Vibe, this is going to sound like a infomercial for Office Vibe now, but
Use my affiliate link. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, in the show notes. No, one thing that was a pretty great, profound unlock that we had just from using Office Vibe is we'd kind of built the agency based off of need as we added more services, we added more people to deliver those services,
mm,
and at roughly the mark where we hit, this is early on, like maybe 10 to 12 people,
yeah,
we started to get answers to the survey questions, basically highlighting the fact that nobody knew who the manager was. Nobody knew who was in charge of them, and it kind of made us realize, oh, this is why things aren't. This is why
yeah,
things aren't working. There's actually like an accountability and a management void. And then within the next week, we picked the most senior person who we actually thought would do a good job at being a manager, and we promoted him to manager, and we started training and coaching him into management. And suddenly, the answers in the numeric survey questions, and then also the actual
yeah,
uh, text-based questions, um, all started to trend much more positive, and actually delivery started to get better. And it was just crazy. I'm like, this tool, and it's not even necessarily Office Vibe specifically, but it's literally just constantly talking to your team
yes,
in a somewhat anonymous way too, so that they can actually feel free to say what they
hmm,
actually want to say. So you actually get that information.
yeah.
Was hugely transformational. So I definitely recommend tools like that, or that tool specifically, to anyone who's trying to grow an agency and having some bumps along the way.
Yeah, I'm sure there's others. That was the first one that came up when we Googled it back in the day.
Yeah,
The like one thing I will say is that sometimes it can feel maybe defeating to look at those numbers and go, "Oh, why are we doing so bad? Why are people so upset?" But the alternative is that people just quit. And so because they felt like they weren't heard or their needs weren't met. So it's better to know and be able to act on it than to, just push it out of your realm of awareness and then just have people quit and not really have the chance to react to it.
absolutely. It's really in line with something I say a lot, which is feedback is a gift. Even if it's
Yeah.
bad feedback, it's still a gift, because now you know, and you can decide how, like, do I want to take this in? Do I want to take action? What is this telling me?
Yes.
At the end of the day, what is this telling me? Is this telling me that I need to fix something? Is this telling me that maybe I've created a culture of coddling a little bit, and I need to actually
Mm.
expect more of people? Like, what is this telling me at the end of the day? Because it's not necessarily going to be super clear, but it's really important. Um, Pivoting a little bit, how does Olo Metrics acquire new business?
So we have a few different strategies. I remember looking at, okay, do you know Ryan Dice, digital marketer?
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Yeah. I feel like not as many people do nowadays, and I
Did
feel
I
like
just date
I'm old
myself?
school. I'm old school for just like fanboying about Ryan Dice because I've learned so much from him. I met him actually a couple of years ago at one of
Oh,
their events, and I hadn't been starstruck in a long time, but when I met him, I was like, like actually tripping over my words. I'm like, oh my god, why am I acting like this? I'm such a nerd, like marketing nerd. But but yeah, he did a post like right when we were starting the agency, is like just like a quick poll on LinkedIn. How do people acquire new business? And it was like top two answers: referrals and speaking. So I was like, okay, like we're going to be proactive with speaking and proactive with how we generate referrals. So one of the things I've always done from day one is to teach and speak. And I started like literally the day we started Olo Metrics, I started teaching at BrainStation and teaching digital marketing courses. And so I taught like the overall digital marketing course and the search engine SEM course, I think it was SEM, SEO, and like Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager. I'd already done a lot of like I was self-taught on all of these things, but and I honestly going into those first classes, the very first class that I taught, I would just spend like 3 hours like learning the class, learning every single possible question that could be asked my way, and then teach the class and be like, okay, it didn't blow up, so great, I made it through that class. Time to do the next one. But then through repetitions, really got like into my realm of comfort teaching digital marketing, and I've never stopped since. So I don't actually teach really with BrainStation as much anymore. Like they kind of there's some pivots and stuff that happened during COVID, and now I don't live close to the campus. And I do kind of miss teaching in person. I thought it was a lot of fun, but I do teach through Jelly Academy. So Jelly Academy is another, like Jelly Marketing is another agency. Darian Kovacs, I'll give him a shout out. He saw one of my talks where I did like a speaker panel, and he just reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, hey, do you want to be an instructor? And that was like 3 years ago, at least. I also speak for a lot of like business chambers and some marketing conferences and stuff. So I think that's being like always a driver of new business is speaking. And we also do our own workshops and webinars and stuff at Olo. So we use that as kind of like an entry point to bring in new people and acquire clients that way. The other side is referrals. So we've actually we like I remember joining a lot of like business networking groups and stuff. Like I went to a few BNIs back in the day, and also just connecting with like my local community of different business owners up in Squamish. I think that helped us really early. We actually never got any Squamish clients, but we got clients in Vancouver and other places through the agencies that were in Squamish. But we've also now started our own group. We call it TAP, Trusted Agency Partner Program. Charles and I, we'd been in masterminds. We joined different masterminds and agency kind of coaching programs that were also referral networks. We've both been to BNI multiple times. And we just felt like, you know what? Why don't we just build something that's kind of organic? It's free. We're just going to be selective with the people that we invite to it. And then we're going to make sure that we just do a format that's less on like this kind of transactional, what can you bring to this group in the, like, if you go to any BNI, then you kind of have to bring like, it's like, here's my referral for you. It's like this very like weird, almost awkward structured process,
Yeah, yeah,
which
it
I think
really is.
works for it and works for certain types of businesses, but it just wasn't what we wanted for this. And then just try to like bring people together, get people to like learn and brainstorm with each other, and then build some more trusted relationships so that we can refer. Because, like, you probably know this, Sean, from your agency days, and even now is like it doesn't matter what incentives are in place. You're still only going to make a referral if you trust that that person's going to have a good experience.
Yep, yep.
So those are the two kind of main channels. Like we do some advertising as well, and I think we really focused on having like our sales process, having a really strong like entry point offer, foot in the door offer, and that's really helped
Critical.
us to build things up.
That's awesome. I don't know if we've really touched on it. What is your target demo at Olo Metrics?
Yeah, it's like we're more like I would say horizontally positioned than like vertically positioned. We don't do like digital marketing for physiotherapists or anything along those lines, but we're more focused on B2C service-based businesses, kind of like I'll say 5 to 50 million. Um, I usually say like our perfect client, they have at least one marketing person in house, and usually it's like two to five. And then that person or that small team is wearing like all the hats, and they just need the agency to come in and do that thing that we do. But like we've got some e-commerce clients, we've got some B2B clients, but our I think our bread and butter is B2C service based businesses because yeah, it's just like the thing that we've landed on. We've kind of looked at and said, these are the clients that we can usually have the biggest impact with, and that usually work best for us with like long term relationships. So that's what we're going to be doubling down on in the next couple of years.
We talk a lot about the process of sort of defining your ICP. How long did it take for you guys to sort of identify that was the target?
Um, like we're still figuring it out. I don't know. Like when we started, we went really narrow. We're like, hey, we're gonna do like digital marketing for health and wellness brands, and that was solely on my experience at Kintech, and being like, okay, well, that's where my experience is. Let's do that. And I had already had a client that I was working with, which was a physiotherapy clinic. They are still a client today, I will say,
Nice.
that I got like kind of as a side gig when I was at Kintech. My physiotherapist, my old physiotherapist. And then so I was like, okay, got this one client here, got this experience in this sector. Let's double down on that. And then the first client we got was Body Energy Club. So okay, they're like wellness focused as well. Okay, this is where we're gonna stick. And then like immediately after, it just spread out, and like we got like clients from like all over. And like I think it was okay, and but we kind of transitioned a little bit. It's like maybe this was, in hindsight, who knows if this was a good choice or not, but we transitioned away from being just health or wellness focused to, okay, we're just gonna be working more horizontally positioned, and then we're gonna work with a bunch of different brands, see where we can have an input pact, and then start to adjust. And like I think it's like the common knowledge is, hey, you have to pick a niche, you have to like really double down on the niche. But just for me personally, maybe it's because I just wanted to work with so many different types of clients, and I just couldn't help myself. But I felt like I had to go explore the range of possibilities before I was ready to narrow down and pick just a few.
So that is the caveat that most people don't add to the whole pick a niche thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad we're having this conversation. I think that it is important to niche down in some respect, but it also seems kind of arbitrary if you're just starting your agency and you're saying, here's who we help, when you don't necessarily have the data yet
Yeah.
to know
Yeah.
whether this is where I have the biggest impact. There might actually be different areas, different types of clients, different sectors where you actually have a much bigger impact. But since you haven't actually had the experience working with them, or that at bat, as I like to say, yet, you don't
Yeah.
really know. So I do think that it actually is important to at least get the data a little bit and try a few different service types, different client types, different sectors, industries, etc. Because you might find that, you know, I picked health and wellness arbitrarily because that's what I knew. But and I'm saying this not actually.
No.
I'm gonna decouple it from you. I'm
Yeah.
not saying this to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I picked working with financial advisors because it's all I'd ever worked with. But now that I've worked with, SaaS, for example, I find that I really suck at financial advisors. I thought I was good, but it's the the only type of client I'd ever worked with before. I'm way better at SaaS, so maybe I should actually work with SaaS.
Yeah. And I think like you have to kind of let yourself be a little exploratory there. You can always change the headline on your homepage to change your positioning to whatever you want to focus on eventually.
Absolutely.
Um, the yeah, like I think part of being a marketing agency is having the ability to work with across different industries, and you can kind of get like the experience that you learn, let's say the experience that you learned working in SaaS, you could then like bring back to the financial advisor, and start to incorporate some of those strategies or those concepts that will help them. And maybe like it's like that out of the box thing that no one's doing in the industry that's going to take that financial advisor leaps and bounds beyond everyone else. So I think that expertise is really really valuable. And then you're just doing this process of like 80/20 optimization on picking like those clients that you're like, okay, I love working with these clients. Didn't know that I loved it until I did it, and now I know. So let's do more of that.
Absolutely. It's I love it. I can produce great results. The
Yeah.
client loves working with me. Also, they just happen to be a very, very profitable client for us. We should probably do more of that.
Yeah, yeah. It's the Venn diagram of all of those. Yeah.
I was walking through this exact exercise with a newer agency owner yesterday, actually, and it's kind of like looking at the whole list of clients and then just basically building the chart across, how much are they paying you? How much time are they taking you? How much do you actually enjoy? How good is it actually going? Is it profitable,
Yeah.
etc. You start to see a picture, but you wouldn't actually. There would be no data if you didn't have a wide range of test subjects, I guess you could say. And I want to caveat that with saying you shouldn't sign clients as test subjects because everybody deserves to get your best work.
Yes.
And a quick rabbit trail there. That is one thing that I absolutely despise about a number of these sort of like digital agency gurus that'll pop up, basically saying like, take our SMMA training course, and then you'll learn how to do social media marketing, and then you'll have your own agency. I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. That's not fair to anybody. And also, eventually, your hair is just going to be on fire. So,
Yeah, it, and I think that this is a common evolution for a lot of marketers and agency owners is it's like what gets you started doesn't make you successful in the long term of running that business. I think it would apply to any business.
very true.
It's like the E-Myth, right? You start out as I forget the terms, but the person that does all of the
The
stuff, the expert,
technician.
the technician. There you go.
Yep. Yep.
And you need to like literally change who you are and what your identity is in order to climb that second mountain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What got you here won't get you there. And that can lead to a lot of pain for people who have a hard time
Yeah.
rolling with the punches. Cause I mean, the punches don't stop. They
No,
just keep
no,
coming.
they never stop. Yeah, you just get better at either dodging them or taking them.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Um, One question I like to ask, and I don't ask enough, but I'm going to ask you is, can you highlight or walk me through a client win that you're really proud of?
Um, okay, so and this is one that we recently submitted for the Google Impact Awards, and
Cool.
so fingers crossed, we'll win it. Who knows? This was I guess the reason I'm proud of this is because I didn't come up with this strategy. It was something with our performance marketing team. So we're kind of structured in two teams: client services and performance marketing. It's like front of the house, back of the house.
Yep.
And so it's an e-commerce client, funny enough. So it's not actually our current target client, which I just discussed, but the team was like they're a brand that they probably got about 5,000 products, and when we took them on, I did an audit of their account, and they were spending 80% of their budget on their own brand name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was like this like shock. And so you know, it it's actually it's kind of scary almost to take on a client like that because then they've been seeing this number for a long time. The ROAS in their account has been
Mhm.
quite high, right? Quite healthy. Just unbeknownst to them, it was people that already knew them and they were going back to the site over and over again. So I kind of had to set this expectation of, hey, by the way, things are going to change a lot. And so we are going to separate out that into its own campaign with a controlled budget. And that's going to be your kind of brand name, your branded protection campaign to make sure that maybe competitors aren't stealing it from you and you're showing up. It's a very, very small budget usually. Everything else is unbranded and non-branded campaigns. And so what we did was we set up all their non-branded campaigns. We set up Performance Max. This is in Google, and so one of the things that the team they were struggling with was getting the ROAS targets that we wanted. So found some scripts online to apply to basically be separating out and labeling the different product selection, and then moving the products that were performing really well to a standard shopping campaign and really like maxing that out. And so some of the results that we saw were like 163% year over year improvement in ROAS,
Wow.
like big numbers. And it was like really technical solutions that when I was looking at, I almost had like a flashback of like, honestly, like if I was reading this kind of study, this kind of case study when I was just starting the agency, I'd be like, who the heck are these guys? And like, how did they even come up with this case study and this strategy for this company? And so it was like, like Pranav, who's our head of performance marketing, he submitted this for me to review before passing along, and I was just like blown away. I'm like, I had one of those moments of like, this is awesome, like nice work, you guys like killed it. So yeah, that was like a recent client win that definitely want to celebrate.
What a fantastic feeling, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome. Well, hey, Warren, thank you so much for coming on the Agency Uplift podcast. Where can people find out more about you and Olo Metrics?
Um, yeah, if they want to find out about me, they can connect with me on LinkedIn. Warren Thompson, Warren Thompson 21, I think is my handle. But you just look up Warren Thompson, Olo Metrics. Our if you want to find out more about the agency, olometrics.com, and would happy to connect there. If you are an agency owner and you're just looking for some advice, connect with me. If you're a business owner and you're looking for some digital marketing help or advice, then definitely reach out as well. We can always at least have a little discovery call, point you in the right direction. I always tell people that if we hop on a discovery call and I see that we can't help, I'm still going to point you in the right direction and give you some advice. Yeah, definitely don't be afraid to reach out.
Awesome. Thanks, Warren.
Thanks, Sean. Happy to be here.